So, Caitlin Clark is getting defended by people from all walks of life. From all, like, we've heard Skip Bayless. We've heard the biggest sports people in the world be out here defending the number 22 from Iowa. But now we have got Dan Patrick defending.
Caitlin Clark's Time Person of the Year honor has caused quite a stir in the WNBA, but not all the buzz is for the right reasons. Dan Patrick has called out this ridiculous situation, and his take is both hilarious and spot on. He's basically asking, hey WNBA, do you realize success is a good thing? It's so absurd that you can't help but laugh, but then you realize how serious this situation is for the future of the sport.
It just drives me crazy that we keep, it's black, it's white, it's the new, it's the old, she brought eyeballs. That's all. You're flying charter jets now. Now let's see how you build on this.
Johnson, the Washington Mystics CEO, isn't celebrating Caitlin Clark's achievement. Instead, she's upset, saying Clark doesn't deserve the honor and that Time should have recognized the entire WNBA instead of just one player.
And so last night we read Time magazine where Caitlin Clark was named Athlete of the Year. Why couldn't they have put the whole WNBA on that cover and said the WNBA is the league of the year because of all the talent that we have?
But Dan Patrick, the sports broadcasting legend, isn't having any of it. He fired back on his podcast, bringing the heat. His argument: it's Time Person of the Year, not People of the Year. The award has always been about individual impact, not group achievements.
But if you're Time's Person of the Year, it's not the People of the Year, it was a Person of the Year.
Patrick's basically saying you can't have your cake and eat it too. Johnson's team is benefiting from Clark's popularity, but she's still not happy about Clark being recognized. It's like they're fighting against their own success.
Can't we just acknowledge Caitlin Clark changed the WNBA? That's it. It's okay.
Did you get that? Even if Time magazine had taken Sheila Johnson's suggestion and featured the entire WNBA on the cover with Caitlin Clark at the center, honoring how she's changed the league, she'd still complain. It's hard not to see this frustration as being rooted in race. If it were all black players with no white player in sight, you wouldn't hear a peep. Now, you're probably wondering why the WNBA would resist something that's clearly good for the league. What's behind this backlash against a player who's bringing in new fans and more attention than ever before? Dan Patrick isn't backing down. He's defending Caitlin Clark, stressing that she's changed the WNBA. It's that simple, a win for the league, even if some won't admit it.
At the same time, I think she would still be equally as upset if it was WNBA as the League of the Year, if they put Caitlin Clark front and center. I think she actually, even if they given WNBA League of the Year, she might have been even more upset if they said WNBA is the League of the Year and put Caitlin Clark front and center. I think she might be more upset about that.
Did you catch what Dan Patrick is saying? Think about how Wayne Gretzky transformed hockey when he joined the LA Kings. That's the kind of impact Caitlin Clark has had on the WNBA. Patrick says Clark's doing the same thing for women's basketball. She's not just playing the game, she's changing it. And here's the kicker: acknowledging Clark's impact doesn't take anything away from the retired players who built the league. It's not a zero-sum game.
You want to throw in Angel Reese, you want to throw the memory of Cheryl Miller or Cynthia Cooper. It's a win. We gotta, God. This is a unique moment. Caitlin Clark did for the WNBA what Wayne Gretzky did for the NHL when he went to the LA Kings.
Patrick points out that while the league is benefiting big time from Clark's success, some people seem to have a problem with how they're winning. It's like they had a specific vision of success, and Clark doesn't fit that mold.
Why?
Well, Patrick's not pulling any punches. He suggests that some people in the WNBA aren't thrilled about a white girl being the face of their success.
Take a victory lap. You don't have to go, oh my God, these people are mad, or this person's mad, or this group is mad. It's Caitlin Clark changed the WNBA. It's okay. It's okay to say that. You're not diminishing what the founding, fathers of the WNBA did. You're not. she's the Time Person of the Year. That's all. The league won. But every time we think there's a win, there's somebody who brings something else up.
Think about that for a second. The league's getting more attention, more viewers, more everything. But instead of celebrating, some are complaining. It's like scoring the game-winning shot in the finals and then getting mad because it wasn't scored by your favorite player. Does that make sense to you?
It's like the league is winning, but the league doesn't want to win. The league only wants to win if they win in their way. They don't want to, like, they're not happy winning unless they win in the exact way that they've always wanted to win.
Imagine LeBron's team winning the championship and then showing up at the press conference saying, you know what? No, Kyrie shouldn't have taken that shot. It's actually bad. It's like they don't care about winning. Kyrie made the shot, but no one would be saying that. Similarly, while the WNBA teams are flying private thanks to the revenue Clark is bringing in, they're still trying to downplay her impact. Something doesn't add up. And hold on, Dan Patrick's not done yet. His co-host just dropped a bombshell that's going to change how you see this whole Clark situation. He's not saying there weren't great players before Clark. We all know the WNBA had incredible talent. But here's the thing, no one, and I mean no one, has moved the needle like Caitlin Clark. In other words, she's a phenom.
It's the Cleveland Cavaliers 2016. Let's just say there's a rift in the team. Half the team are, half the team are LeBron. LeBron's boys, half of them are Kyrie's. And they only want to win if their guy is the one that hits the shot. So Kyrie hits the shot, and instead of celebrating winning a championship, LeBron's team are like, they come in the press conference to be like, you know what? No, Kyrie should not have taken that shot. It's actually bad. It's actually bad. We don't care about winning. Kyrie took the shot instead of us. It's like, no, but you just won a championship.
You know how sometimes a player comes along and just changes everything? That's Clark. She's not just good. She's not just great. She's transforming the game. And Dan Patrick is doubling down on this idea. He says the WNBA shouldn't just accept Clark's impact. They should embrace it.
I always go back to Paulie's article in GQ. There's a difference between great players and phenomenons. No one ever said Caitlin Clark wasn't, no one ever said there weren't ever great players before Caitlin Clark. There was never phenomenons, not in my lifetime, with women's basketball. And I went to UConn, so I've seen plenty of great players, but no.
It's like he's giving the WNBA a roadmap to success, and they're trying to throw it out the window. Let's talk about what Gretzky did for hockey in the southern US. Before him, hockey was mostly a northern sport. Then he joins LA, and suddenly everyone's paying attention. He didn't just improve the sport, he expanded its reach, bringing in new fans, markets, and opportunities. Remember that game with the Washington Mystics? Yeah, the one owned by Clark's biggest critic. Listen for yourself.
She had the biggest crowd in the history of her franchise or any franchise at 21,000 last year for a home game.
Yeah,
against the...
That was history, and it happened because of Clark. She's bringing that Gretzky-level impact even to the people speaking badly against her. But here's the crazy part. Instead of celebrating, some people in the WNBA seem to be fighting against it. It's like they're scared of their own success. They're worried that Clark's popularity might overshadow other players or change the league in ways they're not comfortable with.
If you looked back 3, 4, 5 years ago, this type of stuff was always happening. It's just nobody cared enough.
Here's the really messed up part. This anti-Clark sentiment isn't new. It's been bubbling under the surface for years. The only difference now is that more people are paying attention to the WNBA, so all those whispers, all those side eyes, all that resistance is finally out in the open.
We talked about the WNBA. We talked about Caitlin Clark last year all the time.
Yeah.
It was Otani, LeBron, NFL, Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
And now what about? It's a lot of whataboutisms.
I know.
Like, can't we just be grateful that she's bringing so many eyeballs to the sport that normally they weren't watching this, no matter how great a player, Kelsey Plum, Sabrina Ionescu, Breonna Stewart, all great players. But they weren't doing this.
No. Kelsey Plum scored 3,500 points in her career. But she wasn't the attraction here.
Think about it. If the Mystics owner had said what she said about Clark a few years ago, would anyone have noticed? Probably not. But now it's front page news. and it's forcing us to ask some uncomfortable questions about the league.
The problem is that people are now talking about the WNBA. People are interested in WNBA. So now we're looking at a situation where, okay, all these people are now interested in it. So we're talking about it, and that's not what the WNBA wants, unfortunately. Like, I think if the Mystics owner had said this 2 years ago, no one cares, and no, it wouldn't have been news, because the people that were watching are the people that are the anti-Clark crew that were probably in full agreement with the Mystics